Hey everyone, it is a beautiful day in Yukon, Canada. We're really far north now. We're right next to Alaska, above British Columbia, and I want to show some of the infrastructure they have up here. It's pretty cool. I always talk about in my videos, why don't we use cast iron culverts anymore? Well, this area, you see a lot of them, super thick cast iron pipes. What's that? And the pipes will last hundreds of years. This area also uses a lot of corrugated metal, but driving across Canada, especially these super northern places, you do not see plastic pipes ever. They'd be destroyed by the winter. The ground freezes, it expands into the pipe. But this is cool. I saw something from the road and I want to show it. A lot of the water up here has a bluish tint. Lots of sulfur. Look at a school of fish. There's probably thousands of them there. Look at them all. Beautiful. Nice bluish pool. This is a beaver pond. Look how beautiful and blue that is. And you know what is so cool right here? They have this road here going out. Stable enough to drive on. And it goes out to the beaver structure in the water right up there. See that screen? They got a big cage around the end of the culvert. This roadway right here is the Alaska Highway. Especially the southern part of the Alaska Highway, you see almost every culvert pipe is thick iron. No corrugation needed. It is so super duper thick. And then you see a whole bunch of corrugated pipes, the end of them kinked upwards, because in the winter it freezes, and sometimes when the ice in the ditch gets starting to defrost, it'll float up, crumpling all the pipes. But the cast iron ones won't move in that way. This is one of the most advanced beaver structures I've ever seen. The water's crystal clear. So I'm going to show you what they have here. Up there, they're allowing the beavers to have that nice, beautiful dam. And the beavers aren't messing with this at the moment, but they sure will eventually mess with it. But they have so many fail-safes here. First off, the beavers would come down here and clog up this heavy grate. This is like the fencing they use around goat cages. Super strong. It's intended for the beavers to build a dam right here around it. Next step, they have this cage right here that the water will get in through and go through this intended planned beaver dam around this cage. Eventually the beavers may try to clog up this cage. The point of having this cage here is to spread out the area that is flowing to the pipe. The beavers can tell that water's flowing into that pipe, and they would block the end of it very easily by crossing sticks, smearing mud over it. By having the cage, it spreads out the area that it's actually pulling. A lot of the full-grown beavers wouldn't be able to fit through that cage to clog it up. The smaller ones, yes, but then they have that whole cage. They have to clog up the bottom of it. That's starting to erode right there. The sides, the top, and eventually, if they do so, clog that up, it'll start pouring over the top of this. Now, when it's pouring over the top of this, it might not be the easiest for beavers to get in and out. But say they do. They clog up all that. They'll keep raising it up. They'll clog up that. And look at this. They even bent the cage up here. They have to clog up this, that, over there. So many surface areas they have to clog. If they don't clog this, there's all these channels for water to still get in that giant grate. They have made it so complicated and time-consuming for the beaver. And on a rural highway like this, there are thousands of beaver swamps. They're buying the road time. Beaver has to clog that, all of this cage, the grate. They have to clog so much to actually flood the area. And what's so cool is here, they have this hoist system here. If the Beaver has clogged up this entire thing, flooding this whole valley over my head, flooding that little dirt road access, absolutely flooding everything, they're prepared for it. They'll hoist this up, nice strong cable. It'll just loosen up the dam enough where hopefully it goes through, or they could reach in there with a machine, but probably just lifting this up, it'll empty out everything. And once the water's gone, they can come in here with machines, empty out everything, and completely reset this. It would take the Beavers probably half a season to clog all the stuff. But this is brand new wood. I can tell this has never experienced going underwater. Brand new structure. They tied it together with solid wire. But if we look here inside of the gigantic culvert pipe, it's been blocked before. You see everything down there. The last time they broke the dam, they let it flow through into the wilderness. This is the only main road around, the Alaska Highway. There's a bunch of dirt roads, logging roads, bunch of ranches, off-grid people, campgrounds. Honestly, more of the traffic up here is campers. People on vacation, they take a more of the percentage of people that actually live here, and truck drivers. A lot of trucks on this road, but it's mostly motorhomes this time of year. But yeah, they let it blast off into the wilderness. It's not going to go anywhere. There's no other roads in the area. All the debris will get stuck. It's not going to clog up anything else. And that's coming from a storm drain up there in the winter time. Got to have storm drains. That's the only way the water's going to get around the snowbanks, unless they plow out little areas here and there. This area gets extremely cold. That's why they have to have much better systems. You can't be using plastic culverts under the roadways. Stuff like this, they wouldn't put metal out to stuff like this. They want it to flex a bit. And beavers aren't active in the winter. They don't hibernate. They live underneath the ice, but they need the open water to be able to float things over. But this is all brand new. It even still has the tags on the culvert, brand new cage. I love to see a proper system installed by somebody who really understands the beavers. I like to see this erosion here. I used to love playing in things like this as a kid. You make a little channel and just watch it erode. The beaver investigators have even been here. So let's look up at this. Such crystal clear water. Look at this beautiful beaver dam. They use the surface of the water. That's how they move such massive logs into place to dam it up. What about these massive pieces? These entire trees? Trying to figure out if they even cut those down or they just happen to float into place during a storm. Look at that crystal clear water. Let's look up top. Better angle. They got some cinder blocks along the plastic tube, plastic culvert to keep it down. And look, that cage isn't clogged up at all. It's working perfectly. They're working alongside beavers right now perfectly. Not a single thing. It spreads out the flow. When they're up against that cage, they can't really feel the suck. If the cage wasn't there, they'd feel the dramatic suck of the culvert and they'd block it up. This allows water to go through, preventing any further flooding, and it allows them to have this nice dam. You see they installed it right over the top, perfect, and they even have this engineered ground here coming out enough where they would be able to reach this with heavy equipment. See the water down here is probably a good 4 feet deep. This is one of the cleanest beaver ponds I've ever seen. Beaver ponds are usually murky, dirty, full of leeches. But this water is beautiful and blue. Don't know where the lodge is, but this looks like it goes back a pretty far distance. I love looking at infrastructure that was put in by somebody who knew exactly what they were doing. I've seen so many people try to install beaver deceivers, beaver structures, and they just don't know what they're doing. There's areas where beavers can get into it. They can mess it up. But this is nicely done. Nicely, nicely done. Look, they even cut out a piece right there on the bottom so some water could still get through. Because when this thing is sucking, like that is sucking up there so strong, if a beaver got too close, it would suck them right on through that. Beavers would float sticks in front of this and let the pressure hold it right there. But if they block that up, water's still getting in through the bottom. It'll be a little bit more challenging for them to block. Beautifully done structure. Before I get out of here, I just want to take a picture of this masterpiece of beaver engineering. And I want to get out at more structures like this if I happen to see any. This area is nice. There's herds of wild bison along these roads. We see a bunch of black bears. Haven't seen grizzlies yet, but they do live here. We've seen elk, we've seen caribou, lots of moose, a few deer, rabbits, wolves. The only thing we haven't seen yet is a grizzly. But I'm so happy to see this structure. Makes me so happy to see them working with the beavers. No relocation required. And yes, beavers like to have multiple ponds. They'll clog that up just for that little bit of water, even though they have that. But they have an amazing structure to deal with it. Thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great day.